We got a quick update on the New York real estate situation, which I find very interesting and I love to track to a certain extent. The idea of and I know it's obviously sad, but the idea of an abandoned city. I like to watch those abandoned mall videos. I just would like to picture a lower capacity city and kind of the eeriness of it. Call me crazy. I don't know what it is. Urban. I used to go explore in Detroit every so often, the kind of
what it used to be.
Urban, what do they call that? Urban decay. I'm into that. I'm not saying that New York is decaying, by the way. World-class city. Great time. Love New York. No problems there. But, New York has been hit has been hit so specifically, so hard because it's such a unique city, right? Mm-hmm. Super tight, packed in, huge reliance on public transport, a lot of restrictions because of pandemic shutdown stuff, and tons of offices. And the offices and the people who work in those offices, they sort of make the city what it is, even though you might be sitting there thinking, well, the dude in the suit, who cares? Well, the dude in the suit, he goes to the local restaurant, he buys the espresso, he gets the haircut, he's all the little shops.
Yeah, he's stimulating the economy.
All the little shops that you
Everything
like
around him
are associated with the workforce that's around them. In some cases, I'm reading through this article, some rely up to 90% on the office workers that are nearby in order to operate and exist. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Well, this report here states that about 10% of Manhattan's 2 million office workers have returned to work. 10% of the 2 million. Now, for those office workers, in many cases, if they're in finance, let's say, the companies associated with them, they said, okay, you can work from home, no problem. But what about the dude in the dry cleaning at the bottom of the office building? What about the guy with the convenience store on the corner who sells you the beverage? What about the coffee shop and the guy who sells the bagels? And the guy who's got the street hot dogs? You can't survive for very long if you got 10% of the usual 2 million office workers, never mind tourism, which is also gone. So the whole city is getting transformed right now. And obviously, there's reason for shutdown, but it's to a point where the situation is kind of catastrophic for those that have had to close completely and figure out a new way of life. And you start to wonder how long you're looking at for a recovery. Now, the reason New York is interesting, as I mentioned, public transport being such a big component, an inability to really distance yourself the same way you might in other cities. Percentage of workers who have returned to the office, Manhattan is 10%. The United States as a whole is 25%. The suburbs of New York, 32%. Dallas is at 40%. And even Los Angeles is up to 32%. The car culture that exists in some other cities creates a little more distance, bigger spaces, bigger real estate. They're different scenarios and circumstances. Now, obviously, this is a really polarizing topic. Some people say, hey, man, where do you cut your losses? At what point is the virus low enough that we can start to take measures, safely take measures to get people back in order to uplift some of these companies that are right on the fringe? And some people work their lives on these restaurants.
Yeah.
They invested their lives in these restaurants, Will. There's a report in this particular article about a restaurant owner who once employed 55 people, and he's down to 6. That's how busy his restaurant used to be, from 55 to 6. So it's a tough topic. It's an interesting topic, and I'm going to be following it. As far as the infection rate in New York, it's now 1.38%. It is lower than it has been for months, and they say the current surge is driven by a handful of neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Queens, not necessarily Manhattan. So people are making a case to try to open up Manhattan a little bit more. I don't know how residents of Manhattan feel. You can let me know down in the comments because I'm curious. Yes, the numbers go up a little bit as you begin to open things back up, but how do you find that balance without losing everything that's good about your city and all the people that worked hard? For many, it could be their life's work to put together the businesses that they did. And they may not even have a chance to come back regardless. I mean, if we're being, if we're fully examining the thing here, it might be too far gone, because how do you, even if at 10% of the workforce right now, is 20 enough, 50 enough to hang in there?
Yeah. With the rent, like just demanding rent in general, it's a tough choice.
I mean, it could take a decade to get back to 100. So a lot are going to be considering cutting their losses. But anyways, shout out to New York. I think New York's going to bounce back. It's just a matter
be
of
strong.
time. Very cool place, cool people. That's that. Good luck, New York.